welcome to All Things Odd. My name is Dr. Hannah Galloway.
And I'm Mary Kate.
And today we are going to talk about our Redux machine, which we have talked about before, but we're going to kind of do another episode because we've had some new ideas. First, Dr. YouTube channel. There's the thumbnails for the videos. Some of our thumbnails are really hilarious, and Dr. Phillips is great at Photoshop. And today's thumbnail is going to be extra exciting. So you're gonna have to go check out our YouTube channel so that you can see that picture. But it just makes it a little bit easier to see what the episodes are about, and you can send it to somebody that doesn't have, social media. So you can go there and you can subscribe. And so today we're just going to talk about our Redux machine. We have two of them here. So we opened about 2 years ago, and we've had one of them for like a year and a half, but the other one we just got. And so we got kind of creative, like, well, what are all the things that we could put in there? What could we suck moisture out of? Because that's what it does. This summer, we've had an influx of people coming in and just saying, my hearing aid sounds kind of weird, it's weak, and then put it in the Redux and we get an impressive amount of moisture out of it. So we actually have a leaderboard in the back of who had the most moisture in their hearing aids. We've put AirPods in here too, and AirPod case as well. So the leaderboard that we have are actually both BTE devices. So they're both behind the ear devices and then with an ear mold attached to it. So I wonder if maybe those are just holding more moisture, like in the hook or like in the back of the aid.
Well, and they're bigger, so more room for the moisture to kind of hang out in there.
Yeah. So both people on our leaderboard, one had 5.7 microliters, and the other one was 3.6. And so those are both pretty impressive. If you want to try to get on our leaderboard, what you have to do is bring in your hearing aids and or AirPods soaked with sweat, and we will put them in our Redux machine and get all the moisture out of them and give them back to you. And I have noticed a big difference in sound quality with hearing aids, like a 3-year-old hearing aid. I listened to it, put it in the Redux, then get it back out, and it sounds a lot better when all we did was, run it through the Redux. We didn't do any expensive repairs or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So there's other options for drying too. We know you probably don't have one of these at home.
Here's one option for drying things out at home. It's called a dry aid kit. Get a little closer so you can see it. And it's just like a little glass jar, essentially, and it comes with these little desiccant beads. And this is really cool because the desiccant beads you can actually reuse. And so you put them in the microwave to be able to reuse them. I know that sounds really weird. The first time someone told me, like, put them in the microwave, I was like, no.
Yeah, please don't. We have had a couple hearing aids go in the microwave. So anytime we give this to a patient, we say, it says all over the bottle, don't put your hearing aid in the microwave, just the beads, but it dries the beads back out. So then you can keep using them. I think there's also oven directions too, but those directions are for just the beads, not any of your electronic devices. So that's something a lot of people will travel with that in their suitcase or something in case their hearing aid gets wet. The other thing that we'll recommend, like even, on mission trips or whatever, is a bag of rice. It definitely works. It's just dried, and so it helps to kind of suck moisture out. Kids' hearing aids a lot of times come with like a little plastic tub with like some little desiccant pellets that go in there. So that's all kind of the same technology, is just a low-tech way of removing moisture, whereas our Redux system is really impressive and it sucks out a lot of moisture and then actually measures how much it gets out so that we can see.
Another thing with the desiccant beads, some chargers, and I think it was a couple years ago, so I don't think many of them are doing it now, but some of them had like a little desiccant drying compartment in the charger. So when you opened it up, it was kind of on that lid for you to put the beads in. And so take a look at your case to see if you have that option, and you can always purchase some from your audiologist to get some more beads.
Okay, so now we're going to do some experiments just to kind of see what we can put in the Redux. So right here, we have a glass of water, and because this is an infomercial, I'm going to drink it so you know it is fresh, clear water. Now we're going to put the hearing aid. We're going to dunk a hearing aid in this water. So this is the hearing aid. Hopefully you can hear that so you know that it's working. We're going to give this hearing aid just a dunk in the water and kind of see what happens. Hearing aids are water resistant, not waterproof. So they can't be submerged, but you are supposed to be able to dunk them. So we thought we would just use this opportunity to do an experiment. So let's, I guess I'll just dunk it and then kind of sit it on the counter first.
That was the dunk.
Good dunk. I'm not getting much sound.
Definitely less.
Starting to come back, but we're just going to set it here. And then we can throw it in the Redux and see how much it'll bring out. So we're going to do a couple things at a time because we have more than one Redux here. So what else do you have for us? All right, so we've got AirPods. Their case is small enough that it can actually fit in there. So we will put those in there too, and then we can run both of them at the same time, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. And also, this was the new idea today, was to do Apple Watch. So our Apple Watches are on our arms all the time while we're washing our hands and doing all kinds of stuff. So we thought, oh, they can probably get a lot of moisture out of those. So let's try this one too.
And I'm going to take the AirPods out of the case to put them kind of side by side in the Redux together. I just ran my AirPods in it. I don't know, was that gonna... Hold on. We have a little handy dandy tool so that we can keep the AirPod case open.
I'm going to run the watch first by itself to see how much it brings out, and then we can put the hearing aid in after. It might sound a little bit loud just because that's all we've got going on in here. So we wanted to get all our talking out first, but we'll start this one and see.
So that one's going. So the new one we got, actually, I'm going to start that one. I think it's a little bit quieter. I don't think so.
I think it is too.
The second one that we have, though, comes with an app. And so that's really cool. I'll actually, I know I brought my phone in. Put it down. So you can actually look on the app and it'll update it live for you as it's going.
So the first one we have is a more sophisticated model and has a screen, so it tells you how much moisture got out of it. But this new one is cool. It's got this app, and so it'll kind of tell you what's going on with it while it's running.
And so it says that it's drying, and it has like a little timer that's going up, and it'll tell us how much moisture it's pulling out as it goes.
So the longer these run, the more moisture it's typically getting out. So if we put hearing aids in it and it runs for like 12 minutes, we're like, whoa, that's going to be a lot of moisture. Everybody on the leaderboard was in there for more than 10 minutes. So I ran my watch actually this morning, and it was only in there for 4 minutes, and it said it took out 0.6 microliters. So
I ran my AirPods and my AirPod case. I ran them separately earlier this week while we were kind of fiddling around with how to keep the AirPod case open. And in just my AirPods, I got 1 microliter of moisture out. And then in the case, I got 1.8 microliters. And I'm sure you're like, what is a microliter? Like, why does that matter? Essentially, the comparison that we have found is that 1 microliter is equivalent to like a grain of rice, which you're like, okay, like a grain of rice. But when you think about how small the hearing aids are, or how small your AirPods are, like a grain of rice is taking up a lot of space in there. Like there's really not much room left in the device. And so the fact that it's taking out all that moisture, I haven't used my AirPods yet since I dried them out, but I'm really excited to see if like the connection's better.
They're gonna blow you out of the water at the gym.
They might, yeah.
Oh, these are so great.
And I always wear mine in the sauna at the gym, and so like I'm getting all sweaty. So I bet that's where like the moisture came from. I'm not dunking them in water or swimming with them, but just sweating in them. So it was crazy to me that it essentially pulled out 3 grains of rice worth of moisture out of my AirPods in the case.
Right. And we haven't done any official experiments, but I would think that doing that regularly would increase the longevity of your electronic, because it's just stripping that moisture off the microphones and everything and letting it run better. We don't, like I said, we don't have any official data, but 3 grains of rice worth of water sounds like a lot to come out of some headphones.
Yeah.
So you'll have to report back on how the sound quality is.
Yeah. I was having like connection issues where they just kind of like cut in and out. And so I'm hoping that fixed it.
Yep. Okay. So we ran Natalie's watch. and it said less than 0.5. So that's just kind of its default is less than 0.5. So we don't get too excited if it's less than 0.25. But now we're going to put our dunked hearing aid. And it does have a little bit more sound than it did right after I dunked it. But we'll put this in and see what it does.
That one is for sure louder.
It is, for sure. But it is like maybe a year and a half older than it. So I bet they've,
Quieted it down.
changed their process or something.
Yeah. A little smaller too.
Yeah.
A little Redux ad. All right, let's see how we're doing on the AirPods. We are at 3 minutes and 40 seconds and 0.5 microliters. So we have gone up from the less than 0.5.
And so if you're one of our patients or just somebody in the area, we can do this treatment on your headphones, hearing aids, whatever. This summer has actually been kind of popular because people who are out of warranty, instead of spending, $300 to send it in, it's, not very expensive to run it through the Redux and see what benefit you can get from that. And especially with like AirPods, I mean, those are, unfortunately, when they die, people might just have to buy new ones to replace them. So that's actually kind of a cool way to use the Redux.
Yeah, so if you're in the area or if you know your audiologist has a Redux, go on in. If you come into our office, it is a small fee to use the Redux, but I really think that it is worth it, especially with how much rain we got at the beginning of the summer.
Yeah.
Like, I can only imagine how much kind of seeped in through the hearing aids.
I did a listening check on like a 3-year-old hearing aid, and I was going to send it in for repair. I was like, I can't change the speaker and make it sound better. It just sounds really bad with the microphone. I put it in the Redux, and then I told the patient, I was like, honestly, sounds really good. Like, I don't think we need to send it in. I'm not saying that you're never going to have to send it in, but if we can send it in once in a year compared to a couple times or something, that helps the patient out a lot. And then we don't have to deal with the delay of sending it in and getting it back. And, shipping hasn't been the quickest. So it kind of avoids the whole thing. Or if somebody like jumps into the pool in the shower, it was an accident, the hearing aid is dead, it's kind of our best thing to try before, having to send it out.
Do you think we could put a cochlear implant in the Redux?
We have not, but I think we could. So it is, when you put something in the Redux, it asks if it's rechargeable or non-rechargeable based on how hot it gets. If you put a hearing aid with a regular battery in it, you want to take the battery out and open the door, so that way it's going to help to pull more moisture out. But so when we do this, we tell it it's rechargeable. So an implant is rechargeable. Cochlear implants also, when you get one, they give you a Zephyr dryer. It's like has the desiccant and air force through it, and it heats, so it dries kind of 3 ways. This is similar to that, as far as that it's electronic and everything. Oh wow, we've got 2.2 microliters from that hearing aid that we done.
Wow,
so kind of exciting.
I'll be there for a little while.
Yeah, I have a feeling that we might just have to keep chatting.
Well, that goes.
We might be sitting here for a while.
Your AirPods are at 0.9 microliters.
All right.
They're still working. So.
All right. I haven't used my AirPods in months, so I didn't know what was going to happen. But today, whenever I took a shower, I just set them in there with the moisture to kind of see.
Thanks, Mom. My mom commented.
We have a fan club. Usually we have one viewer from Zambia and Mary Kate's mom.
And my mom. Sometimes my friends.
Yeah, a lot of times you can see in the comments, it's like my last name, Natalie's last name. It's all of our favorite fans. Yeah, I'm impressed.
I'm pretty impressed by that, especially for just like a
dry.
Okay.
3.6.
Wow.
That's a big one. So that's on par with the leaderboard.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're probably not gonna put this one on the leaderboard, but it was still kind of like cold and wet when I put it in there. Now it's nice and dry. So cool.
Wow.
Almost 4 grains of rice, like 3.5 grains of rice out of that hearing aid.
Tiny little guy.
Yeah,
like, that's not that big.
And just because I feel like it's noteworthy, dunking that in the water didn't kill it.
Yeah. It's still working.
It was still, we used a newer hearing aid for this purpose. It is under warranty, but we did want to see, like, if, this could happen. Somebody drops it in the sink or something and then retrieves it. it was still working. So that's actually just speaks to, you know, the water resistance of hearing aids. These are rechargeable, so they don't have a door where everything can get in.
Mm-hmm.
That probably helps, but it does kind of speak to their water resiliency as well, that you can dunk it and it's still working.
I definitely accidentally like dumped my dad's phone in a cup of water. Like it was like dark and I just like put it in a cup holder, but there was a cup of water there and the phone was dead the next morning. So the hearing aids are doing a little bit better than iPhone 6s or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was something when we first got the Redux. We're like, can we put our phones in there? But it's not big enough to put modern phones. I guess the predecessor to this was a lot larger. And so they actually, I think, came up with this as a way to dry phones and things. So it was like more of like shoebox size. But now they've made it like nice and cute so it can sit on our desk in a small package.
It's still going. We're at almost 9 minutes, 1.5 microliters.
And I thought my AirPods weren't going to be impressive. The case is in there too, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
case is in there, propped open.
Mm-hmm.
At least when I shut it, it was propped open.
Yeah.
So we'll see when we open it up if it stayed open. When we ran mine in, we didn't like think about putting something in there to prop it open. And so the first time we ran the case, it was closed and it took out like 0.9. And then we opened it up and like kept it propped open, and then it took out another 0.9. So keeping it open.
I love how you can tell how big of nerds we are, but how pumped we are about the amount of moisture that we have retrieved from said electronics.
I had a patient and I ran his in, and it was my first patient that got me on the leaderboard. And I came in and I was like, "You had so much moisture, I'm on the leaderboard." He was like, "Okay."
I didn't really understand what that meant, but it was exciting for us.
I was really excited. I was really hyped for the rest of the day, but he didn't really have much to say.
Well, one of our patients that's on the leaderboard has asked if he's still on there. So what do you think that it would sound like if we did listen to that hearing aid that we had dunked in water? I'm thinking that like when you have just a little bit of moisture over the mics, I've listened to a hearing aid where it sounds kind of like slurry or like speech is a little bit muddy. That's kind of the best way that I could put it.
Yeah.
Dampened, maybe. Not as like clean or crisp of the sound.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when you put a hearing aid or something in the Redux, you listen to it before, you listen to it after. It just seems like it's a little bit more clear.
And I also think sometimes it could be like intermittent, where sometimes it sounds a little worse and sometimes it doesn't. And so, you know, if you're just kind of going about living your life and you're sweating, like you're not really gonna think, oh, like my hearing aid sounds weird now.
Yeah.
After I sweat so much, it might be a little bit more intermittent. So a lot of times when people have the warranty and they come in, and like with men, they sweat more. And so most times I'll just kind of throw them in there regardless of like what they're here for. I'm like, if you're here for a cleaning, I'm just going to put them in there anyways and let's see what happens.
Well, if they're older than a couple years and you're wearing them every single day, I mean, think about if you like used your computer every single day and your hands were like greasy from eating lunch and you just kept using it every single day. Like the oil, it's not going to go anywhere unless you're using it like this. So it kind of helps get that out of there. And we live in Colorado, so it's not as moist of a climate as like Florida or something. Back in the day, whenever rechargeable batteries for hearing aids first came out, there was a particular battery that we weren't having any problems with here in Colorado because it was nice and dry, and the rest of the United States was freaking out because the rechargeable hearing aid batteries did not work once they got a little bit of moisture. So it's kind of funny because we're like, oh, well, we don't have any problems, but it was coming out in like Florida and California, and now it's widely known that those batteries did not work with moisture. But that works in our favor, you know, for our patients with hearing aids. But people travel, you know, in the summer.
Yeah, well, we had once again all the rain.
Yes.
Like I moved here in June, and it was from June to like end of July. I think it rained like every day or like 6 days a week, and people are like, "This is the wettest summer we've ever had."
Yes.
So I can only imagine. And then also like your hand oils when you're kind of similar to what you were saying with the laptop, like if you're touching like stuff and then you put them in your ears and then you're kind of fiddling with them to readjust them and whatnot, like it just kind of all builds up.
Colorado patients tend to be pretty active too. Like we have a lot of patients that are into cycling or hot yoga or all kinds of, you know, things where your aids are going to be exposed to moisture. So that might have, you know, something to do with it too. But the summer we see a little bit more of it than in the winter. But we've kind of been using this more often year round just because we have it. So what are we at?
1.7 is
Wow.
where we're at. And I think we're at 13 minutes. So really going for it.
It really is. I don't know what's the longest time we've ever had it. But when we did Mary Kate's, we ran the AirPods 1st, and it wasn't that many minutes, and then we ran the case separate. So this time we're really loading it down with all my...
Seeing how far we can push her.
Yeah. Okay, what else can we discuss while this is still running as far as drying? I think I'm going to open this up so we can kind of see what this dry aid kit looks like.
Yeah, I was reading the instructions on it as well because I don't really sell a lot of those since most of them are very water resistant nowadays. But there's 2 different color beads in there. There's blue ones and white ones. And it's when all the beads go white, that's when you know you have to microwave them or put them in the oven to dry them back out. And then a couple will turn blue again. So that's nice that they have a little visual indicator because I feel like I wouldn't know at what point do I have to put these in the microwave.
Right. And it's just the blue ones. When those turn white, then you kind of activate them again. There is, when you open this is sealed, but it has a little piece of foam in there. You would leave the foam in there and then just put the hearing aid on top of the foam is what I've told patients to do. So that way it doesn't drop all the way down into beads. But these are kind of nice to take on vacation or just have with you in case of emergency. That's why kids' hearing aids come with some sort of a desiccant option, just because they may be a little bit more likely to run into an issue.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what other things we can dry in the Redux.
Moisture related. What else could we put in there?
I told my friends about the AirPods and they were all really shocked by that. So
I brought my husband's AirPods and I put them in there and he had quite a bit, but he wears his AirPods every day. And a lot of times when he's wearing them, it's mowing the lawn or doing whatever. So they definitely, it took a lot out of them.
I wonder if you could put in the wired headphones, but then I feel like the little jack on the end, I would be nervous about that getting too hot.
Yeah.
Cause that, I
don't know. We could reach out to Redux too and ask. I bet they probably have a list of you can dry all these things.
Yeah.
But we were just getting creative. The AirPods, obviously, we like to use AirPods a lot. All of us have a set. And so we have that's been on our radar for a while. But the watch was something new today that we were like, oh, you could put your watch in there. That
could do your Fitbit.
Yep, that's true.
The Garmin watches, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you take the Fitbit? Oh, yeah, I guess you can. She could change out the...
It's a bit. Yeah, you get the bit out.
It's just a little guy. Let's see. Can you put... I think you could put the earpiece in. I'd have to see if it disconnects from the little wire. I just ordered, if you watched our episode a couple weeks ago, I got an ear impression done. And one of the style choices was the police one with the wire. I was like, I want this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hannah was like, no, just get the tube for the students. So I feel like you should be able to though.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think any sort of Bluetooth headset piece what Effie wears when she answers the phone or whatever. I bet we could do that.
In-ear monitors.
Yeah, I don't know about in-ear monitors because they are wired, but we could definitely ask, or even just ask the manufacturer of whatever, electronic we're talking about to see if that's something that they think would be helpful.
Or if they've ever tried. I wonder how many manufacturers are trying to dry out their stuff.
Probably no one, just people like us sitting around clinics being like, well,
looking at a dryer and thinking what we can put in there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The AirPods are impressing me though.
I'm very impressed by this. Let's check it again.
I didn't think we were going to get anything.
2.9. You officially beat me.
I'm kind of horrified. I haven't used them in 6
3.1. It just jumped up. Did you drop one in the bathtub?
No, I don't wear them in the bathtub. I typically only wear them when I'm traveling. And so because I feel like just using the passive cancellation helps relieve a layer of anxiety about travel. So even if I'm not listening to something while I'm traveling, I usually have them in my ears and then people won't talk to you. So it's also nice. The person next to you won't try to start up a conversation. But yeah, they really haven't been used in months. So that means that's all from accumulated fill.
In 2 years, Ruby's going to be like, I accidentally dropped them in a cup of apple juice. And now we'll know.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of anything what else to put in a Redux, you guys. I really didn't think it was going to go this long.
I really didn't either.
We were at about 18 minutes of those guys drying. Yeah, 18 minutes, and she's still going.
That's really, this is going to be the best ad for Redux because for someone that does not wear their AirPods, it's taking 18 minutes to get all the moisture out. We're going to get them out there like fried toast. No, they're melted. They're made for this. So this machine was made for this. But when we come back and we do another episode, we're going to have to give you guys an update.
A final count.
How long it went, how much moisture we got out. I'm probably not even going to be able to use those now. They're going to be so strong. I'm going to have to turn my phone volume down so that I can tolerate it. Yeah, so this was kind of impromptu, but I think we're going to sign off while this is still running, and then next week we'll come back and recap, what happened. But if you're in the area, if you're a patient, not a patient, you've got some headphones, you want us to put them in there, we would be happy to. And if you get more than 3.6, you can go on the leaderboard. I'm not going to put my AirPods on the leaderboard because I'm not going to take a spot from somebody.
That wouldn't be fair.
That wouldn't be fair, and my case is in there as well. So we believe. Oh, it's done. It knew we were getting ready to sign off.
So it kind of gave me an alert on my phone. It said dry complete. It went for 19 minutes and 5 seconds and took out 3.9 microliters.
Wow, that's impressive.
That is impressive. Let's see if it stayed open.
I feel like all the timing is working too well. It's like we're at this point.
We didn't plan this, I promise. And so we kept it propped open with like it's the hearing aid cleaning brush essentially, but it works perfectly.
All you audiologists that have all these brushes laying around in your clinic, we tried some with wax loops. One was too long, but we just found something that would prop it open like a bit so that way it doesn't shut while it's in there. These are AirPod Pros.
They did not melt. We joked.
All the ones that we have done have been AirPod Pros just because it's been, since those came out. I don't know if the regular ones have a bigger case or not, but we could try it.
Yeah.
So
I think it's smaller actually.
Okay.
Smaller and longer.
If anybody has some that they want to bring in, do that and we can test them out. For now, we'll be back next week, 12:30 Thursday. Come back and see us on All Things Odd. Thank you.